I'm Ryia Peterson. I'm Richard and Joan's niece. My father, Monty Ross, is Richard's older brother. Beautiful, kind, funny, classy, loving. These are the words that come to my mind to describe my Aunt Joan. My dad, Monty Ross, wanted desperately to be here with us today, but is unable to travel from St. Louis. I told him he would be my full-time job if I brought him, and then I wouldn't be able to do any of this. My mom, Harriet, and my sister Diane stayed in St. Louis to care for him, but send their love. And my brother Ethan, who just thought the world of Joan and Richard, is in Israel with his family, and him and his wife are saying Kaddish tonight, Shabbat, in Israel for Joan. So one of my first memories of Joan was at Richard and Joan's wedding. As a 9-year-old, I just remember being awed and admiring of the stylish woman with the beautiful dress and the beautiful smile, and the fact that my Uncle Richard looked happier than he'd ever looked in his life. And my dad did the same thing. It took him like months to call my mom after he met her. So it's definitely a Ross trait. 10 years later, as my brother was having his bar mitzvah, Richard and Rory were so sick that Joan had to make the trek to St. Louis by herself, leaving a sick husband and daughter to be there for our family. And it was so appreciated. Fast forward to the birth of my son, Jake. Richard and Joan came to St. Louis for his bris. And I think Joan felt so badly for what he had to go through that day that she just lovingly carried him around all day. We just could not even separate them. Oh. Remember that. Richard and then Roy are certainly have been the loves of Joan's life, and then Scott. The three of them could quip back and forth with humor. There were always great laughs. Married over 50 years, Richard and Joan just are the example of devotion to each other. I rarely have known such a couple. And both are so proud of you, Rory. My parents remember going to Rory's graduation from Pine Manor, and what a great time everyone had together and how proud and happy Joan was. I never experienced Joan as a real estate agent, but I know she would have been great at that. She had a way of being polite and sweet while being directive and getting her ideas across, and I'm sure that served her well in her chosen career. One of my favorite stories of Joan came after my Aunt Jean died, and that's Richard's oldest sibling. There was a safety deposit box that had a lot of beautiful jewelry that she had left, and my sister Diane, Rory, and I went to visit the safety deposit box before we were going to the airport to see if we could find something to put aside that would remind us of our beautiful aunt. Well, Rory found this beautiful Art Deco bracelet full of rubies and emeralds, and we encouraged her to try it on. Well, then, it was beautiful on her, but we couldn't get it off. And we were supposed to leave this, in the safety deposit box to get examined. And so, I'm pulling, my sister's pulling, she's pulling, none of us could get off. So we had to leave, we had to make our flight. So we went back to Jean's apartment. Joan took one look at it, put her hands on it, it was off. In an instant, she was able to do that. And she just knew how to do things the right way. So my sister Diane and I, we came to see her 1 week before she died, and it turned out to be her last good day. She was so happy and smiling the whole time we were there, and we were able to tell her how special she was to us and she was able to tell us the same. And I will forever be grateful for that time with her. We will miss you, Joan. And then my mom, who couldn't be here, she just wanted me to read. She wrote a little thing called Ode to Joan. As we all experience the drama of our lives, we play out many roles. We remember our loving Joan as a daughter, sister, aunt, cousin, and friend. Joan excelled as a student, especially in business and French. Joan became a realtor due to the inspiration of her dad, Stanley Goodfriend, and with her beloved Rory later and Mike. Joan helped so many people find the right place. Becoming a mother, she so loves Rory Jacoba and later Scott Braun. Being a dog lover, she found true doggy love with Barney and Betty and more. Joan showed so much courage in life, but found her special place making a lovely home and being Richard Ross's wife.